Hey guys and girls, this is Hannah Saber from HR Images. In today's video, I'll be doing a review on the brand new 24 f1.4 G Master lens. So stay tuned. I'm actually vlogging with the 24mm on my A7S II, just showing you the performance and how well it is for vlogging and video. I've currently mounted on my Benro Red Dog R1 gimbal, which I will be doing a review on that soon. So make sure to do subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for that review. With the 24mm, I have found it's the most versatile, most compact and lightweight lens. Only weighing at 445 grams, this is one of the lightest G Master lens out of all in the G Master lineup. If you're comparing it side by side against the 85mm, the 85mm is a bit taller than the 24mm, but it is also wider. With the 24mm, it has a 67mm filter thread. It's also minimum focus distance at 0.24 meters. So you can get some really nice close-up shots, detail shots with the 24mm. As I will be going through the video, I'll be posting up image samples as well to show you on the results of this lens. With the 24mm, it is the best lens and focal length I have found for an all-rounder lens for street photography, landscapes, even portraits and weddings. Now, when I say portraits, people ask, is this a good lens for portraits? Yes, it is. Reason why I say that it is a great lens for portraits, because you can get some really great environmental portraits with this lens. You can also do close-up shots as well, which you can see on some of my samples. If you do headshots, I wouldn't use it as much as headshots because due to the 24mm focal length, it will give more of a distorted look on the person's face. Where I would use for headshots more the 85mm focal length because it gives more of a realistic look on their face opposed to more of that distorted look. But for half body shots, for full body shots, environmental shots, portraits, this is a great focal length. Now, everyone knew from following me how well I've loved the 35mm focal length, and it's been on my camera 99% of the time. I have been getting a lot of questions now why I haven't used it. Am I selling it for the 24mm? 35mm, I want to keep that focal length because there are times where I will prefer to use that focal length. Again, in terms of if I'm doing a behind the scenes video, I'll film my 35mm if I have to use my 24, which will be some videos coming up on that. The 24mm, the reason why I love the 24mm, I've been using it a lot. I have always paired it up with my A7R3, giving it best of both worlds. When I want the 24mm, I shoot the 24. If I want a close-up one, instead of switching to my 35, I switch into crop mode, becoming an equivalent 35mm lens, and you can get that nice close-up shot as well as, you know, a wide shot. So you can get basically two lenses in one if using crop mode. This is why I've been using the R3 more than my A7S II or the A7 III, because of the megapixels. And when you switch into crop mode, a 42 megapixel becomes about 18 megapixels, which an 18 megapixels, especially if you're posting for social media or for weddings, things like that, 18 megapixels is plenty, even for a large print. So this is why I've paired it up with the 24mm. What I love about the 24mm GM, especially the 85 and the Zeiss 35, is the aperture ring. Being on the go, you know, saving you from adjusting the aperture ring from on the camera and the shutter speed at the same time. You're adjusting the aperture ring, you know, through the lens, through the aperture ring, making it easy, quick, especially being on the go. You know, I found it a lot easier. I've heard some people complain about, you know, knocking it, changing the aperture, not realizing it. But to be honest, when I have it on the declick mode, it does not, no matter how many times I've knocked it, it has not changed. Unless you have the declick mode off, where it's smooth, then when you knock it, it will move into a different aperture. But I've always had mine on declick, and I've knocked it around weddings, and I've never had an issue getting the aperture ring changed. So the aperture ring is one of the features I do love about the 24mm, especially being very lightweight and compact. Great for travel, great for landscapes, you know, great for close-ups, portraits, weddings. And with the 24mm, I found it is actually one of the being a great focal length, you can actually use it now for vlogging, comparing it to the 35mm. 35mm, if I had it on my gimbal right now and I'm walking, I wouldn't be able to have that focus. I gotta really stretch out my arms just to get that bit of focus, but I won't get at least my chest up. Where the 24mm, I'm nice relaxed, I'm walking, and I still get that nice focus because of that wide angle. And it's you know, the autofocus is really good in low light. The performance on this lens, the quality, everything is about it. Would I recommend it? Yes, this is a lens I will definitely recommend to add into your arsenal. Again, due to the focal length, and especially if you have the R3. You know, if you want the 24mm, you want something wide, but you want the 35mm at the same time, don't have the budget, 24mm is great. Switching it in crop mode, you get the 35 equivalent. So you're getting two lenses basically in one. Whereas the 35, if you switch into crop mode, you're becoming a 50mm equivalent. With the 24mm, my time using this lens, I have not noticed any chromatic aberration like I would have in my 35mm Zeiss. There are so many times in the 35mm Zeiss where I have noticed a lot of chromatic aberration depending on my situation of shoot, especially depending on the highlighted background. The 24mm, I have not noticed any CA on it or vignetting. Even being the 24mm, people ask how's the distortion? Well, as you can see from the images, none of these are lens corrected. Especially my landscapes, the distortion is well controlled. There is no heavy distortion. I know, like with the 12-24mm lens, you get heavy distortion on that lens, but the G Master, I have not noticed any sort of bad distortion on this lens. I'm actually really enjoying it. It's been on my camera 99% of the time. I have not touched my Zeiss or my Samyang 35. They're sitting in my bag collecting dust at this stage because I'm really enjoying this lens. As I said, switch into crop mode, you get the 35 equivalent, you get the 1.4 and being very lightweight. I'm not too much of a fan of a 2.8 lenses. I prefer the 1.4, especially in low light. With focusing, the 24mm f1.4 has a very fast and accurate focus. You can also use IAF with this lens as well, but as I said before, you got to be close up to your subject where the IAF can sort of pick up the eyes. When you're doing more environmental portraits, it does not pick up the eyes. It will more pick up to facial recognition. So you'll have this square box around the face when you're using this lens. Even for videos, the AF is fast and accurate. If you check I'll have a link on the top of the video to one of my previous BTS video I've done, filmed entirely with the 24mm, showing you the performance, showing you the autofocus. So if you want to have more of a detailed look for video, do check that video out. Even at f1.4, this lens produces sharp results wide open. And the corners are extremely sharp. When you stop down, you get even sharper corners where the image intends to pop. With the GM Master lenses, especially with this, I find it's like similar to what the Zeiss does, how it's got that color pop. Where the 24mm G Master, it has that nice pop, contrasty pop to it, which is what I've loved about my 85mm. And the best part about this 24mm GM, it is not as expensive like the other G Master lenses. This one's actually a well-priced lens, which I was kind of very surprised in the pricing. I thought it would be well over $3,000 Australian, but it's actually retailing for 2,300 Australian dollars, which I thought is a very good price for a G Master lens. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick review on this lens, showing you some real-world images of the captured with this lens for weddings, landscapes, portraits, even a bit of street photography, some close-up shots. This lens has it all. It's great for everything, and it's something that I will recommend. If you are in the market for a new lens and you're deciding on a 24 and 35, 24mm, I will strongly suggest. As I said, if you have the R3, you switch to crop mode, becomes a 35mm equivalent. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel, and wish you guys a Merry Christmas to you and your family and a Happy New Year, and see you in the next video. See you guys.